Good evening and welcome to the 2026 European Open Classic Powerlifting Championships here in St. Julian's, Malta. I'm Emilia Potter, joined by Alexander Noldan.
Powerlifting is a sport composed by three main disciplines called lifts. They are, in order, squat, the bench press, and the deadlift. Each athlete has 3 attempts with 1 minute per attempt to start the lift. There are 3 referees, and each of them give a white light in case of a good lift and a red light in case of a no lift.
The athletes are separated per weight, age, and sex category. The sum of each of the best attempts per lift builds the total, and the athlete with the bigger total is the winner. In case of a draw, the lighter lifter wins.
The squat is the first movement of the competition. On that lift, the use of the legs and the back is extremely important. Once the athlete stands erect with his knees locked and the bar on his back, the central referee gives the squat command. The lifter then bends his knees and lowers his body until the top surface of the legs at the hip joint are lower than the top surface of his knees. He then comes back up, locking his knees and hips in order to complete the lift. The central referee will then give the rack command, and the athlete has to put the bar on the squat rack. There are 3 main mistakes to avoid in order to not have a no lift on the squat. First, if the athlete isn't standing erect with his knees locked at the beginning and at the end of the squat event. Second, if the proper competition depth isn't reached at the bottom of the movement. Third, if the athlete doesn't complete the lift with a single upward movement, meaning if the bar goes down during the ascent of the movement.
And we now head into the 69 kilo and 93 kilo battles, and we are in for such an exciting fight, particularly here in the 69s, and there is such a small spread from first to fourth. We are in for such a treat this evening, Alex.
Yeah, it might be the tightest class of this whole championship. Top 5 is going to put up a fight, an impressive one. It's going to come down to the final pull between these ladies.
Absolutely, and it really will be the case heading into the competition. All 4 lifters looking like they had excellent preps, but there's a long day ahead, and who will stand on that podium, we will only find out right at the end of the day.
Strong range of openers for these ladies, starting off with 117, we'll go as far up as 195 for the final opener belonging to Jordan Bright out of Ireland.
And the first lifter out, Melanie Wirtz from Germany, 170 kilos on the bar. The personal best of 185 kilos, hopefully a conservative opener here for Wirtz.
Yeah, that's a proper opener right there.
And that is a good lift, 3 white lights. Looked a little bit confused at the top of the squat there, but seemed pretty comfortable for her. Rosalia Vega Lestegas from Spain, 172.5 kilos on the bar, opening just 5 kilos below her best ever squat. Nice controlled squat there from Vega Lestegas.
Interesting technique, a lot lots of back extension. Doesn't make for a very predictable top end score.
Now let's hope Team Spain knows her better than we can guess from here. But a strong start to the day. Signe Elisabeth Belden Pavlovich from Norway, 182.5 kilos. One of the quite few in this flight that is a 200 kilo plus squatter.
An M1 competing in the Opens, 43 years young. And shaky start to her squat event.
Yeah, it seems like she just hit the hole at the bottom there, maybe a little hard. Have a look at that again in the replay, but regardless, she is on the board, and we know that she's had a fair amount more weight on her back before.
Yeah, it might be a case of first squat nerve, but she's gonna get over that easily.
Now, one of the top contenders for the European title today, and a previous European champion, Marte Jenner from Norway. It seems like she's changed her opening attempt as well. Now opening with 182.5 kilos, and coming into this championships, everybody has been saying it's Jenner's to lose.
It is. She's nominated first. 5 kg lead over Andorina Bouchou.
Although currently, as it stands on prognosis, Van Daal with a hefty lead, and Jenner sitting in fourth overall. Let's see how that progresses through the day.
Yeah, that seems very comfortable. 3 white lights, a good lift. And you've mentioned Marie-Josée Van Daal. I've heard good things about her prep. Team Netherlands seems to indicate that she's coming in hot today.
And we won't have to wait too long to find out, as she is following Jenner in squat openers with a previous personal best of 195 kilos. Marie-Josée Van Daal from the Netherlands coming out with 185, so relatively close to that, and out of the top contenders currently in first on prognosis, also by far the lightest, weighing in at 66.5 kilos. Hit the hole pretty heavy, but still super speedy on the way up. Oh, and 2 red calls. That indicates a depth call from the side referee. So what we're looking for here is for the hip joint to go below the top of the knee joint. And what do you think of that, Alex?
I think she does, but the way she shakes at the bottom does not make for a clear view for our refs. I think there's a case for the coach to go up to the jury, and he does just that. They're still discussing it, however. They'll need to be unanimous inside the jury for the lift to be overruled.
And it seems like it will stay, so that puts the current leader in a sticky situation as we move forwards to another name up there at the top in Noemi Fanton from Italy, 187.5 kilos.
Last time we saw her on the international scene was in 2024. Now she's back, better than ever.
Yeah, absolutely, and she's currently nominated in 5th, but with a few slip-ups from those top 4, she absolutely could slip in on a perfect day. 187.5 now for Fanton.
Somewhat sticky towards low cap for an opener. However, 3 white lights, she's on the board. But she's going to need to kick in another gear if she wants an outside shot at a podium.
And it'll be very telling how the second attempt moves to see if that's just how she squats naturally or if it was a bit of a tricky opener. And Andorina Bouchou from France. First year in the open category at age 24, opening with 192.5. Now, Bouchou had a little bit of a tough cut, having to hit the sauna this morning to try to make weight, weighing in at 68.95. And hopefully that's not affected her too much in terms of performance. What do you think of that opener?
I mean, 3 white lights, and she's opening heavier than what she opened at French Nationals, where she PR'd all across the board. She seems to be in good shape today.
Let's hope that is the case. We want to see that fight right until the end with all of the 4 top lifters. And our final opening attempt here from one of those top 4, Jordan Bright from Ireland, giving some love and respect to the spotters and loaders there. Opening with 195 kilos with a whopping top end of 211.
Yeah, a true squat machine with that narrow stance of hers.
Walked away with squat gold from last year's European Championships. Can she do the same today? Wow.
That's easy.
And 3 white lights, a good lift. Let's have a look at that again. Yeah, that was an extremely comfortable squat. Bright with a super upright squat position. And we conclude the first round with Ulbar van Douw getting that squat in on the board as we head into the second round of squats now. And kicking us off, Melanie Wirtz from Germany, 7.5 kilo jump to 177.5, landing her 7.5 kilos off her personal best. A little slow, but it is a good lift, and as long as she can keep getting that weight up, it's not an issue.
Do you view that second attempt as 185 worthy?
Again, like I said, if that's how she squats and it continues to move slowly, but it moves, then that's absolutely fine. But they might just want to take a bit of a safer route this time round. Rosalia Vega Lestegas from Spain, 180 kilos, 7.5 kilo jump for 2.5 kilo personal best here on her second attempt already.
Yeah, she's gonna need to collect PBs if she wants to cross the 500s for the first time in her career.
Big smile, straight out of the hole. Being very confident, it seems.
3 white lights, EU personal best of 2.5.
Now retaking the same weight, which certainly seems like the sensible decision, although will that hurt her moving forwards? Marie-José van Douw, 185 kilos, got called for depth from both sides on her opening attempt, and you've got to hope that hasn't got sunk into her head.
Lots of experience under her belt. Surely she can adapt.
Certainly looks better from here, but let's see if the referees agree.
Looks like they do. 3 white lights, and one of the favorites is on the board.
Yeah, and you can see visibly, I think she's quite upset, you know, that wasn't the case for her opener, because that set her back 10 kilos, and now actually where they jump from here? Is it the planned second or somewhere in between?
The bar is loaded for Norway.
Signe Elisabeth Belden Pavlovic from Norway taking a 10 kilo jump to 192.5. Lots of these lifters squatting quite similar numbers, so a big fight for that squat podium, I think.
Yeah, with her opener being that shaky, I was not envisioning a 10 kg jump. This looked like a case of strength.
Yeah, and similar to her opener, she hit the hole quite hard, and you can see here in the replay, they're trying to push each other as much as they can in this top 8, but these are the consequences of some of those risks, and she has a chance maybe if she controls it a little better on the descent in that third round. 192.5 kilos for Marte Jenner from Norway. 10 kilo jump. slow, but it keeps moving. And that is a good lift.
Yeah, I'd say there's some wiggle room for a third. And with Marie Vandal not jumping as much as we could have expected, the door is wide open. She needs all 3 attempts to have already an advantage in the race for the title.
Yeah, and I think I would only feel comfortable putting 5 kilos on there to secure the kilos rather than push it, but we'll have to see what Team Norway want to do here. Naomi Fantin from Italy, 195 kilos, a 7.5 kilo jump.
She's never squatted that on the international platform, only domestically.
And there's a huge fight, but it seems like another missed second attempt here.
Yeah, a second miss on strength in the second round of squat. That is surprising, Emilia.
Yeah, and we did say that if she wants to push those top 4, she's going to have a near perfect day, and we don't know what those other 4 lifters' days are going to look like yet, but that certainly will slightly dampen her chances.
100%.
Anderina Bouchou from France, 200 kilos, a 7.5 kilo jump, and her opener looked pretty comfortable, especially for a difficult start to the day with her weight. Just 2.5 below her personal best. Let's see how this moves. Very well indeed.
It moves just like her opener. How about the lights? They're all white. Anderina Bouchou is on. She knows she has a lot on her plate with Marta Kiena, but she's a fierce fighter, fierce competitor.
And already we are at the tail end of the flight again with Jordan Bright from Ireland, 207.5 kilos, a 12.5 kilo jump, a big jump here for Jordan, but it was a good opener, so let's see if 12.5 kilos was justified.
Yeah, no one's going to bet against Jordan in the squat events. Down and up for provisional goal for Jordan Bright.
Oh, and it is lovely. And with that, she's actually secured the squat gold already, and with a good amount of kilos left in the tank, I reckon.
Yeah, and the sea of green in the crowd is loving it.
And that concludes the second round. What a way to conclude it as well. Matarek from the B group still holding on to squat bronze for the time being. Bouchou in silver and already secured the gold. Jordan Bright from Ireland with 207.5. We head into the third and final round. Melanie Wirtz from Germany, 182.5 kilos.
Turns out they didn't deem that 177.5 worthy of her matched PB. They're trying to secure attempts. 182.5 it is. She screams as she locks it out. 3 white lights. That was the top end on the day. Great attempt selection from Team Germany.
We now have Rosalia Vega Lestegas from Spain, 187.5 for a 7.5 kilo jump and personal best. Same controlled squat. Wow. And same success from it. Oh, but unfortunately, just gets pulled in depth. The smile's not gone. We'll have a look at it again in the replay. And it's hard really to see that with the spotter's arms there, but the coach goes to the jury in any case to fight for her.
Might as well. I mean, it's the final squat.
And they do seem to be discussing it. We'll keep one eye here on the jury and the other on Marie-Jose van Daal from the Netherlands, 192.5. Looking like perhaps what her planned second was, which I think is probably sensible here.
We might not realize it now, but this one could be very important in the quest for the title.
Yeah, and we didn't think weight would be an issue. And neither's depth this time round either.
Yeah, that's a momentum shifter. You can see the attitude on her face. Now the energy has shifted. Marie-Jose van Daal is indeed coming in hard.
From Norway. 2 more attempts of exchanges in the next group.
Signa Elisabeth Belden Pavlovic from Norway looking to retake 192.5, and one of the two lifters that had a bit of a shaky second, and it looked like a strength issue, but perhaps if she just controls the squat a little bit more into the hole, it can be stood up again. We'll have to see if that is a complete strength issue or not here. Oh, that's a big fight, and she did a much better job of it this time round. Yeah, and the side referee thinks she racked early. The center referee not quite happy with the depth. Let's have a look at that again in the replay.
Two things to discuss at the jury table. Dips seems proper on that side, but it was not signaled by the right-hand side ref. I think there's a case to be made for that squat.
Naomi Fanton, the second of the two lifters who missed their second attempt here, looking to retake the same weight. And with Naomi, it certainly did look like a strength issue. I'm hoping that it isn't the case, but we'll have to wait and see.
Sometimes after recomping, lifters feel bloated. Could be a case of bracing that was lost at the bottom.
Maybe. I think you said beforehand she hasn't hit this weight on an international platform, and that certainly makes a difference.
Yeah, it's just not there on the day, unfortunately. Too aggressive of a jump, no lift, and 1 for 3 in the squat event for Team Italy. That severely hinders their chance at the podium.
Yeah, like we said, it would have to be a near perfect day. A long day ahead still, but certainly a bigger hill to climb. Marta Chenna now from Norway, 197.5, and has gone for that 5 kilo jump, which I think is smart. It's walking that line of top end and not risking losing those kilos. Let's see if that is the case with her execution. And it looks strong. I want to wait for the lights there though.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I was a little worried about the depth, and that is reflected in the referee's decisions as well. We'll have a look at the replay, although the coach doesn't seem to be going to the jury, so perhaps agrees with the call.
I mean, in all cases, when it's not egregious, it's the final squat. You want to go up to the jury to try and make a case for that squat, but that was a much-needed attempt with Honorina Jordan and Marie-Jose van Daal heating and applying pressure.
Yeah, and with Van Daal and now Chenna both missing a squat, the door opens for Bashu and Bright, who are the next two lifters to come out. Bashu with 205 on the bar for a new personal best, and she's going to need everything she has today to fight for that title. That's a huge fight, but it's not there, and 3 of the top 4 have missed, which means if Bright is to make her third and final attempt, she is in a great position moving into bench press.
Very true, but such a fast-paced meet. Everyone's hitting, everyone's missing.
looking for more kilos, of course.
Still guaranteed silver for Bouchou in the squad event.
Absolutely. Bronze with Van Dau, silver with Bouchou, and gold already with Bright, who's jumped a further 7.5 kilos to 215 for her final squat. A 4 kilo personal best should she make this. This is a huge squat attempt, Alex.
It is one super important attempt. Personal best to build up that subtotal before bench and deadlifts.
Oh, and look at that. It is so comfortable. You've got to think she had a few more in there.
From Jordan Bright to Jordan's squat, 3 for 3, new personal best, gold medal. It's everything she needed.
Absolutely, and with the only one of the top 4 going 3 for 3 on squats, she is off to a great start. And a quick summary here in squat: bronze, Van Dau with 192, Bouchou with 200, and Bright with that huge 215 kilo squat. We head immediately into the 93 kilo men with a large range of squat openers here. Another big battle to ensue. Jonathan Lewis, 245 on the bar.
And unfortunately, one of our main protagonists dropped out this week. Richmond Biden not here because of sickness. Only 7 of them in the A group of 93s.
Which means not only is the door open for that podium, it also means the flight is going to move that much quicker.
Nice and comfortable opener, just what you want in a short flight like this. 3 white lies, now you take a big jump.
Jonathan Lewis as well at one point held the 93 kilo world record deadlift, so we know he's got a big deadlift in him at the end of the day.
Yeah, nominated with 360, that's not too shabby.
Not too bad at all, no. Bruno Santos from Portugal, opening with 275 kilos.
Only 2nd international. Was in Malaga, Spain last year for Euros.
A little bit segmented, but a pretty quick opener.
Into the 1, a good lift, 1 rep from the front for lack of depth. Depending on the leverages and the stance the lifters are going with, it could look different from the front and from the sides.
Mario Montano Camacho from Spain, opening with 280 kilos.
And with Rico out of the race, is one of 4 lifters fighting for vice champion today.
Strong looking opening attempt there.
Apparently he's feeling himself out there on the platform. Love to see that.
Confidence is a huge part of the day. Richard van Bezuijen from the Netherlands. 282.5 kilos for his opening attempt.
Lights, a good lift. It did look asymmetrical at the bottom, but judged deep enough on both sides.
Yeah, it's a very steady looking opening attempt. It wasn't the quickest in the world, but it doesn't have to be if that's how the lifter chooses to squat.
Yeah, no bonus point for speed. Even though it looks cool, it's not going to bring you anything.
Seal Maris from the Netherlands, fighting for a podium position overall, 282.5 kilos on the bar.
Very much in the fight with Jonathan and Mario for that vice champion spot. Super smooth opener from Seal. 3 white lights.
3 white lights for Netherlands. Good day.
Looks like he means business today.
Absolutely. Certainly on form, and he knows there's a podium position at stake. Our penultimate opening attempt here. Another big squatter from Ireland, it seems, in Cian Madden. Personal best of 310.5 kilos. Opening here with 285.
Yeah, he has one strong squat on him. I might go to Ireland for a quick squat seminar.
Lovely looking opener there from Madden.
Yeah, as fast on the way down as on the way up. Super quick opener, 3 white lights.
Plenty left in the tank to push there. Certainly a contention for a squat medal, and with a perfect day, potentially even a podium. Great Britain's Christian Iandokun, favourite to win with a hefty lead, particularly without Biden here to contend against him.
Yeah, true veteran of the game. So experienced, so strong, and he keeps on progressing. Christian Iandokun is the clear favourite of the day.
Absolutely. 292.5 for Christian, and a huge threat in the 93 kilo class globally, especially when he's feeling healthy.
I have vivid memories of Chemnitz where he attempted a world record deadlifts. Nice and controlled for Christian. He's on the board.
3 white lights, a good lift.
Establishes dominance from the start. Just what you expect out of Christian.
That concludes our first round of squats. Heading into the second round, Iandokun immediately jumps into bronze place. Silver and gold still held by 2 lifters from the B groups from earlier on today. We head through to the second round. Jonathan Lewis from Great Britain kicking us off with 260 kilos, a 15 kilo jump.
If everyone hits, only one member of the B group will hold on to a medal spot at the end of the second round. Still looking comfortable, 3 white lights. Squat is not his strong suit. You know, he only needs to collect kilos to put himself in a position to pull for something at the end of the day. So I would not be too aggressive with that final jump. I'd say maximum 10, maybe 7.5.
We'll have to see the route that Team GB go as we head now into the second attempt of Mario Montano Camacho from Spain. Also opting for a 15 kilo jump to 295 here. We're going to see the squat rank jump around quite a lot in the next 10 minutes or so. Does really well to fight against that knee cave he got there at the bottom. And 2-1, a good lift.
Yeah, it did seem higher up than his opener, but still worth 2 white lights.
We'll have a look at that again in the replay. That red light that he gets is for depth. And this is the side he gets the white from. I can certainly see where that call came from, but not quite enough for the jury to want to get involved.
Yeah, it could have gone either way, but the jury's only going to intervene when it's like egregious.
Bruno Santos from Portugal, a 20 kilo jump to 295.
You mentioned that his opener was quite segmented. He needs to clean that up with the 20 kilo jump.
And it could have absolutely been a case of some nerves. Let's see how this moves. His personal best is 310, so hopefully that's the case. Yeah, and it certainly seemed to be. It was still, I've got to say, a little shaky on the way up, however.
Yeah, it looked different, but still a bit segmented.
Next lifter, we start from the Sweden from Netherlands. 297.5 kilos for his personal best.
Richard van Bezuijen from the Netherlands. 15 kilo jump to 297.5. This would match his personal best currently.
Not bad for his second attempt.
Not at all, especially with 11 years of competitive experience under his belt.
He's nominated 6th, but if he's made some progress, he could be a dark horse in a place for the podium. Very controlled, but now the bar is starting to offer some serious resistance. 3 white lights.
Yeah, you've got to think that's near his top end now.
Yeah, would not be comfortable loading more than 5 onto that, especially with such a long range of motion.
Yeah, absolutely. His teammate coming out now, Sil Maries from the Netherlands. Also a 297.5 on the bar, 15 kilo jump. Had a very comfortable opener.
Bounces right up. 3 white lights. Great reaction because his teammate is getting too close for comfort.
And like we said, certainly a podium contender today. More so now that Rico Biden is not competing. Not just bronze up for grabs, but now the silver. Cian Madden from Ireland, taking a 15 kilo jump to 300, provisionally putting him to squat bronze heading into the third and final round.
He needs this one to move nicely if he wants to aim for a podium. Yeah, I'd say that moved nicely.
Yeah, certainly slowed down a little bit, but particularly compared to some of his competitors' second attempts, very clean and moved well. 3 white lights.
He's gonna have a go at squat gold for sure.
If this moves well, it'll be hard to catch though. Christian Irondoken from Great Britain, looking to take 307.5 kilos for his second attempt. Has squatted as much in the past as 322.5 kilos. And for some perspective, the European Open record is 335 kilos. So not reaching for that today by any means, but his top end isn't so far off. Opener wasn't the quickest in the world, but it certainly looked extremely strong. That is a good lift. 3 white lights, looking strong.
Yeah, not worthy of the 3:35 record of Gustav Henlund, but still a very strong second and some room. Of course, Kian is going to squat first to try and maybe retake. Squat gold, but then Christian's going to have the final say.
Absolutely. Silver and bronze still being held on to currently by lifters from the B group, but subject to change as we head into the 3rd and final round, which we will begin with Jonathan Lewis from Great Britain, 275 kilos, 15 kilo jump here.
What do I know? I said 7.5, 10. He's going for 15.
And this would be a 7.5 kilo personal best as well, so in a great position moving forwards in terms of ranking if he gets this.
A huge jump meta for such a short flight.
Wow.
What a strong final squat from Jonathan Lewis. 3 white lights, and that changes a lot of things.
It certainly puts a spanner in the works if we look at that prognosis. Time being, that puts him in 5th, so just in reaching distance of that podium. 7.5 kilos off projected 3rd as it stands. Mario Montano Camacho from Spain, 302.5 kilos, and he certainly looked confident coming off his 2nd.
And he's bringing the energy to his 3rd. Nice and steady walk out, very, very efficient with it.
Big fight there from Montano Camacho.
The correct number was found on the day to the 1 good lift. The exact same ruling as his 2nd attempt. 1 red from the left hand side.
I think that was a similar story as his 2nd with that far red.
302.5 kilos for new personal best. Barcelona, let's go.
Bar is loaded to 302.5 kilos for Richard van Bezuijen from the Netherlands. 5 kilo jump, which I think is what we anticipated here for him.
Yeah, but this wants to go from 7 to provisional silver in the squat event. Look at how tight it is.
Looks like it could be the perfect number. Wow! What an incredible fight, and you can see even he thought so too.
And ladies and gentlemen, this is why we watch powerlifting. What a final squat.
Absolutely incredible. Moves into that provisional silver spot.
Look at our spotters cheering him on. We love to see that from him.
And actually with the same weight on the bar, but looking to take away that squat silver is his teammate, Sil Maurice from the Netherlands, 302.5. And that would make for an awkward car journey home if he could snatch that silver medal off him. The 5 kilo jump, his 2nd looked pretty comfortable. Let's see if he's good for it.
Yeah, this is exactly what he squatted in Malaga Euros last year. I fully believe he's capable. And he might have had more.
Yeah, with how tight it is at the top though, now he's fighting for a podium position. He wants to pick up as many kilos as possible to try and do so. You've got to walk that line of risk to reward very carefully. Three final squats, all looking to take those squat medals. Cian Madden from Ireland taking a 10 kilo jump here, just half a kilo below his personal best and national record back home. This will move him to squat gold for the time being and will guarantee him at very least the squat bronze. Fantastic effort there. Another great squat. 3 white lights, provisional gold, and guaranteed bronze in the squat event.
Surpassing Christian Ayandoko in the squat event is no small feat, but like we said earlier, he's going to get the final say.
Our penultimate squat here, looking to knock Madden down into silver. We have Bruno Santos from Portugal, taking a big jump here of 20 kilos to 315. If he gets this, it's provisional gold, and if he doesn't, he is 8th in the squat event.
The confidence to go back to back with the jump of 20 kilos.
Big fight, but just a little too heavy for Santos today, so doesn't walk away with a squat medal, which means squat bronze is secured to Maurice from the Netherlands, and squat gold and silver yet to be determined by our final lift up the flight.
And I must say, Bruno made it believable, jumping another 20. He might have had 310 on the day. 315 was not there.
Christian Ayandoko from Great Britain. Silver already secured in the squat event, 315 on the bar in an attempt for the squat gold, and 7.5 extra kilos to his total.
When you're nominated with 219, you're squatting 315. That's not bad at all.
And there he is, Mr. Consistent as ever. 3 white lights, a good lift, and walks away with a squat gold. And a quick summary of the squats before we head into a short break. In squat bronze from the Netherlands, Sil Maurice. In silver from Ireland, Cian Madden. And in squat gold from Great Britain, we have Christian Ayandoko. We now head into a short break.
Powerlifting is a strength sport that involves lifting the maximum weight possible in 3 different lifts. The 3 highest validated scores are added together to determine the total score. Competitors are divided into a series of weight classes, from the women's under 47 kilogram class to the men's over 120 kilogram category. The squat is a multi-joint movement engaging the quadriceps, glutes, hips and hamstrings. The upper body carries the bar. American Jesus Olivares, weighing 186 kilograms, lifts 2.5 times his weight in a squat, which is 478 kilograms, equivalent to the weight of a show-jumping horse. Frenchwoman Jade Jacob lifts 188 kilograms, over 3 times her weight of 57 kilograms, which means she could lift a racing motorbike on her shoulders. With the feet stabilizing the upper body on the bench press is like a loaded push-up on your back, targeting shoulders, triceps, pectoralis major and anterior deltoids. In the lightest category, the women's under 47 kilograms, British woman Bobby Butters lifts 100 kilograms, equivalent to the weight of 16 racing bikes. American Jonathan Keiko, in the under 93 kilogram category, lifts 245 kilograms, 2.5 times his own weight, or the equivalent of the weight of a piano. The deadlift targets the abdominal, back and leg muscles, with the hips, quadriceps, hamstrings and adductors, especially in the sumo deadlift. Polish powerlifter Agata Sitko achieved the best performance of all time in the under 69 kilograms category by lifting 248 kilograms, which is 3.6 times her own weight, the equivalent of a pack of 3 Rugby Sevens players. In the men's under 74 kilogram category, New Zealander Timothy Monegatti deadlifts 331 kilograms, which is 4.5 times his weight, and the equivalent of 36 water packs. Powerlifting is an individual sport that is worked on in a community. The quintessential sport of self-improvement and becoming the best version of yourself.
The bench press is the second movement performed in a powerlifting competition. It's a movement that mainly uses upper body strength. A slight back arch is authorized and allows for a stronger and healthier shoulder positioning. Laying down on the bench, the athlete has to create points of contact between his head, shoulder, glutes, and the bench. His feet has to lay flat on the ground, with the heels in the contact with the floor. Once that position is locked, the central referee gives the start command. The lifter lowers the bar until it touches his chest. The lower underside of both of his elbow joints have to be at level or below the top surface of each shoulder joint. He then has to stabilize the bar for the referee to give him the press command. The lifter has to push the bar back up until the complete extension of his elbows. The central referee gives the rack command and the lift is completed.
There are 4 main reasons to have a no lift on that movement. First, if you're not able to fully extend your elbows at the beginning and at the end of the movement. Second, if you don't touch the chest with the bar, or if your elbows don't go at level or below the top of your shoulder joint. Third, if you're not able to maintain all points of contact with the bench, knowing the head, the shoulders, and the butt. Fourth, if the lift isn't completed in a single upward movement.
And welcome back to the 2026 European Open Classic Powerlifting Championships here in St. Julian's, Malta. I'm Emilia Potter, joined by Alexander Nodam.
Glad to be here. Can't wait for the action to restart.
And a quick summary of the squats. What an exciting session we've had so far. Walking away with bronze, we had Van Daal with 192.5 on bodyweight. Bouchou in silver with 200 kilos, and with a huge 215 kilos, Jordan Bright from Ireland. And with 3 of the top 4 contenders missing a squat, it really makes for an interesting session, one that already was going to be a tight battle, even closer now as we head into the bench press. We're already seeing 2 of those top 4 changing their opening attempts on bench as well.
I'd say arguably Jordan Bright has the nicest momentum going into bench press.
Yeah, maybe a reason they dropped the opener by 2.5 kilos, just making sure that they stay on for a strong day. 95 kilos in the bar for Melanie Wirtz.
Very wide stance at the feet, pretty unusual. Oh, I think she might have racked early.
I think she actually missed the press command. which is why she racked early, I think. I think at that point she knew she didn't have to hold it.
But with the ease she showcased, I would still bump up the attempt. Maybe
Yeah.
not to the planned second, but at least another 2.5.
Certainly is a risky move, but like you said, that's one of the instances where they miss a command that is most arguable. 102.5 kilos for Rosalia Vega Lestegas from Spain. With all bar one opener in the 100 kilos, you can see how strong these ladies are.
She's one of the few squatters that did not miss an attempt. She scored 118, new personal best of 2.5.
Very comfortable looking opener as well.
Yeah, solid arch, but still enough elbow depth. 3 white lights.
For Norway.
Signa Elizabeth Belden from Norway, 105 kilos. Unfortunately, I believe only got one of her squats in on the board. Let's hope bench proves to be more successful for her. She's changed her opening attempt, so hopefully looking for a bit of a smoother start.
I mean, with only 6 minutes of rest in between the movements and only 793s, it made for a short warm-up. But apparently she's still warming up.
And it is a good lift, 3 white lights. Yeah, certainly offered her no resistance. I think better to move forward into bench press with confidence than have a shaky opener.
Especially with that first attempt. You have 3 commands in the bench press event. You want to get a good feel for that. Open light, open nice and easy.
Noemi Fantin from Italy, 105 kilos. Again, another lifter who seems to have changed their opening attempt. Marie Jose and Jordan Bright all changing those opening attempts.
Lifters adapting on the day. Love to see that. Oh, she clips the rack on the way up. Still looks set up though. 3 white lights. And you're only gonna receive a yellow from our refs if the contact is deemed helpful, which it was clearly not.
Yeah, you'll normally see 2 things. Yellow if it's deemed helpful, or blue if it knocks the bar down at all. We should really well to not let either happen. Anderina Bouchou from France, opening here with 112.5 kilos, 5 kilos below her best. Missed out on that final squat, which could hurt her in that fight for overall. We'll have to see how it is. The top 3 on prognosis currently all at 525 kilos,
Yeah,
separated only by body weight.
So 5 kgs could be 3 positions. I would say that's on the other hand for an opener.
Yeah, it's a good lift and she's on the board, but I was going to throw that to you, Alex, having probably seen more of her lifting. It looked a little tough to me, but some lifters lift like that.
No, that's not the best she's looked in the bench press event. We'll see. We'll see. I would not be comfortable loading more than 5, and I would probably load 2.5 to be honest.
And that might be why Team Ireland opted to drop the opening attempt by 2.5 kilos. And at this point, it seems pretty sensible. 115 kilos for Jordan Bright, who walked away with squat gold with 215.
Maybe they've been observing the warm-ups of their opponents and adjusting.
Still just 6 kilos below her best as well.
But it does not look hard. However, double yellows might be for the glutes lifting off the bench.
We'll have a look at that on the replay and see if the... But I think it's just that she beat the press command. But the center referee was happy that she met it.
Yeah, that is intriguing because no lifting on the replay.
And now it looks like all of the top four have at least missed one. 117.5 for Marie-Jose van Daal from the Netherlands.
She needs a better start in the bench press event than in the squat event, that's for sure.
And 3 white lights, a good lift, much better start to the bench than she had on that squat.
Is Lone for Norway. 120 kilos for Marte.
120 kilos for Mats Jenner from Norway, the heaviest opener of the flight. By far the biggest bencher here with a personal best of 135.
Yeah, for someone that's bench 135 in competition, that's a conservative opener.
So it looks about right to me, I'd have to say.
Yeah, just what you would expect out of an opener. 3 white lights, all but 2 lifters on the board.
Next up is Germany's Melanie retaking 95 kilos.
And that concludes the first round of bench. Already 3 lifters from the A group taking gold, silver and bronze in Chenna, with gold Van Daal and silver, and Bouchou with bronze, as we head now into the second round of bench press. Up first we have Melanie Wirtz from Germany, retaking 95 kilos here. Both lifters who missed their opening attempt just skipped a command.
That retake surprises me, but this is what they went with. And as expected, it looks nice and easy. 3 white lights, Melanie's on the board.
And some lifters may just not feel super comfortable with moving forward with higher weight without having a lift on the board. I think that's specific from lifter to lifter.
Yeah, you don't want to play with the mentals of your lifter as a coach.
Kilos for her second attempt. Barcelona.
Rosalia Vega Leftigas from Spain, 107.5 kilos. This is a 5 kilo jump, and it'll be a 2.5 kilo personal best for her should she make it.
The bar starts to offer some resistance. 2 to 1, a good lift. 1 rep coming from the left hand side for lack of elbow depth. How does that look from that angle, Emilia?
Looks pretty parallel to me, so I don't think she should have any issues with that. Jury don't seem too phased by it, so we'll move through to Signe Elisabeth Belden Pavlovic from Norway, taking a 5 kilo jump here to 110, so perhaps a little more conservative than the plan, but like you said, it's so important that athletes and coaches adapt to the situation on the day.
Three white lights, a good lift, so 2 for 2.
And I think still moving really well, and I suspect she just wanted to feel a little bit more comfortable on the bench pad and know where her strength was at on the day on the platform.
Yeah, you would say that, but she didn't seem very confident as she walked out the platform.
Naomi Fanton from Italy taking a 5 kilo jump here to 110, which makes a little bit more sense. Her top end at the moment being 112.5, so really quite close to that currently. Solid looking attempt there. I have too many issues with that. 3 white lights, a good lift.
Yeah, she doesn't seem to be phased by the difficult squat event she's had to surpass.
And that's where you can see an experienced athlete come in. You have to continue to move forwards. There's a long day ahead. 115 kilos for Anderina Bouchou, and you alluded to the fact that 112.5 was a little tough for her, and with the smallest jump possible here of 2.5 kilos, I think she perhaps is feeling the same. Can't afford to lose kilos, especially with that final squat being missed.
With more weight, I would say that's better. 3 white lights.
I agree. I would suspect another 2.5 kilo jump, probably from that though.
Yeah, most likely the only way to go, just to try and match her nominated bench.
Now our second lifter who just missed out on that opening attempt, we've got Jordan Bright, one of the top contenders here today, even for the title. Very, very close to the top. They've chosen to go up 5 kilos, which I think is sensible here in the fight, and let's hope it is a sensible choice. She needs this to get on the board. 1 kilo below her best.
Strength, not an issue. How about the standards? Bit of suspense for Jordan Bright. We're missing our chief ref's light.
And you know that's going to feel like a lifetime. She's waiting for those lights.
Give us some thumbs up or some flags up in the air.
A smile, anything. Jordan Bright standing on the side, waiting to see if she's on the board yet. And it is a good lift. 3 white lights for Jordan Bright. She's on the board, and the risk certainly seemed worth it.
That was a gut-wrenching rate for Jordan Bright.
Yeah, I was sweating here in the commentary booth, let alone how she must have felt there in the wings. Marie-Jose van Douw from the Netherlands, 122.5 kilos, 5 kilo jump to move her into bench press gold for the time being, with Chenna to follow.
She's had a tough time stabilizing that bar, but now she's pushing through. Do you see blues coming in or no?
Lucky for her, it's a no, but I've got to say, where do you go from there? It looked particularly tough there for Van Douw.
Usually I would say you go to warm up your deadlifts, but you're in a fight for the title. You might as well try and squeeze another 2.5.
Yeah, and they put 2.5 on, and you know, as we suspected, you wouldn't ever put on more than that after a bench. Our final second attempt here to move back into bench press gold. Mats Chenna from Norway, 127.5. 7.5 kilo jump here for Chenna.
Yep. 7.5.
You seem unconvinced.
Yeah, it makes a world of a difference on the 69's bench.
Yeah, although her top end being 135, you'd hope this is something she's somewhat comfortable with. I guess the questions will be answered.
Yes, her top end is 135, but she's nominated with 127.5. It goes up. How about the lights from Marta Kiana? 3 white lights, but it looked more like a third. then is second to me.
Yeah, I've got to say, similar story to Van Dau, where I wouldn't imagine from an outside looking in putting more than 2.5 on that. Concluding the second round, Bright in bench bronze, and on the board Van Dau in silver, and Chenna strongly holding on to that gold for the time being as we move into the third round. Melanie Wirtz kicking us off here with 100 kilos, a match personal best, 5 kilo jump. Very strong final attempt there from Wirtz, and a good lift, and I'd imagine that was probably her planned second. Sensible choice, and a big bench still to walk away with, meaning every lifter in this flight will be 100 kilos and up on their bench press.
Solid flight, elite lifting.
Rosalia Vega Lestegas from Spain taking a 2.5 kilo jump here to 110 for a new personal best.
A PB that could come in handy today if she wants to reach the 500s. Strong use of the leg drive. To the one, a good lift. That same ruling with the left elbow being more tucked in. It looked a bit high according to our left side ref.
I didn't think she would have any issues from the jury there, and looking over to them, they're not discussing it.
Yeah, depth is a game of angles. But that camera is just fine for the jury to judge.
Noemi Fanton from Italy taking a 2.5 kilo jump to match her personal best, 112.5.
Yeah.
I think she reached that top end on her second.
I also think that she tried to change her arch a bit, to arch a bit more. It did look different. Regardless, no lift. But that right elbow seemed a bit high in terms of elbow depth.
Signa Elisabeth Belden Pavlovic from Norway, 115 kilos. Taking another 5 kilo equal jump, and her second looked pretty comfortable, especially compared to how she felt on the first. So let's see what another 5 kilos does for her here. Nominated with 117.5, so just shy of that.
It's not going to be easy by any means, but it is within her wheelhouse today. 150 to cover the ground she's lost in squats. I think she might have moved her feet after the start command. It passes 3 white lights, a good lift. Either that was properly timed or just the refs didn't pick that up live.
Final 4 bench presses now. Top 4 in contention for the podium and overall title, and first of which we expected her to go nowhere else but a 2.5 kilo jump, and that's exactly where she's gone. Andrina Bouchou from France, 117.5 for a match personal best. The second was tough. And again, just not there. Anderina missing both final squat and bench here, and that could be troubling in the fight for overall, especially if the next three lifters are to make their final benches.
Yeah, as we alluded to earlier, 2.5 can be 3 position in that flight.
The bar is loaded, no more changes.
Marie-José van Douw from the Netherlands, 125 kilos, another lifter opting for a very sensible choice of 2.5 kilos here. Marie-José definitely needs this to stay as close to Bright, Bouchou and Chenna as possible.
I think she completely lost position there at the bottom. I'm not sure it's the case with strength.
I think, look, I do think she lost position slightly, but based off that second, I've got to think strength was a big component as well.
Yeah. See a collapse on the right side, the wrist rolls.
Jordan Bright now jumping 5 kilos. Nassim going up after that missed opener put her in a good spot. This would be a 4 kilo personal best. I think the same PB that she got on her squat as well.
Yes.
And this will move her into bench press silver, with Chenna securing the gold already. This would also mean heading into deadlifts, she is sat in first position overall.
Subtotal specialist, ain't she? 3 white lights, new personal bench press.
And there we go, silver on the bench press, gold on the squat, and heading forward in the lead. What a great place to be, especially bouncing back after that missed opener.
It's going to be a nerve-wracking deadlift event though, because this is not the event in which she shines, and it is for Kienna and Van Daal and Andorina. She's the best in terms of subtotal, and she'll have to do what she can in the deadlift event.
Marta Chenna now 130 kilos, opting for a 2.5 kilo jump, and will make a tougher job to chase, not just for overall, but for the podium by the looks of things if she misses this. As suspected, 130 was really the top end I would expect her to push today.
What a class it's proven to be. The 69s are keeping us on our toes.
Big fight.
Oh, this is what champions do. Marta Kienna grinding out 130 kilos. Meets the standards. 3 white lights. Impressive.
And it certainly keeps her name in the hat, but wow, that deadlift session is going to be exciting amongst those top 4. Van Daal walking away with bench press bronze with 122.5. Bright from Ireland in silver with 125. And Chenna from Norway in bench press gold with 130. You see the subtotals as they stand. Bright leading the charge with a hefty lead with that subtotal. Chenna following behind is Van Daal and Bouchou. And we move straight into the 93 kilo men here.
Unlike the 69, no one's changed the opener in the 93s.
Sitting pretty confident with how they're feeling on the day, it seems. Sue Marius leading us in the Netherlands, 172.5.
Fresh off a 3 for 3 and a 302.5 squat. He's opening 17.5 below his PB bench.
Very comfortable opener for Marius and a good lift.
Next up, Jonathan Lewis, Great Britain, opening 137.5.
Jonathan Lewis, Great Britain, 177.5 kilos. Not a million miles off pushing for those podium spots. We know he has a big pull in him at the end of the day.
And he PR'd his squat by 7.5. If he can PR his bench, he'll be in a good position to pull. Struggles to extend his elbows though. Three white lights. Was that a game of angles? Because he has some huge biceps, so it made him look like his elbows were not extended.
It has to be as extended as is possible for the lifter, and perhaps that is just as extended as he's able to get. Cian Madden from Ireland, 177.5 kilos. Cian walked away with the squat silver and certainly has a chance of podium overall.
A somewhat comfortable opener for Cian Madden. However, one yellow coming from the right hand side.
Wondering if that was for some sort of lift. Do we have a look at that in the replay?
I think it's the heels.
Ah, yes, just that right heel a little bit off the ground there. Jury seem happy enough with it. Bruno Santos from Portugal, 180 kilos for his opening attempt.
Was so close to getting a squat medal with 315. Missed it at lockout. One squat he's going to think about for a long time. Slow and steady for Bruno Santos. 3 white lights.
Yeah, it's a nice opening attempt. We can certainly see as the weight comes on where that sticking point is going to come in. Just halfway through up here begins to slow, and like you said, on that third attempt, that's where it will start to give him some trouble. Richard van Bezuijen from the Netherlands, 182.5 kilos, opening just 10 kilos below his best.
White lights, a good lift. It was almost a semi-sink or a lost soft touch at the bottom.
Have a look at that in the replay. Whatever it was, it didn't seem to cause him any issues. Pretty comfortable.
Yeah, plenty of room where that came from.
190 kilos for Mario Montano Camacho from Spain. 7.5 kilos below his personal best on our penultimate opening attempt.
He probably wasn't looking at a bench podium before the competition, but with Thomas Fugise from the B group and Rico from the A group dropping out, top 2 contenders with Christian being the third, dropping out, that opens the door for a bench podium.
A little shaky at the top there, but I think it was just an issue of speed more than anything else. It's a good lift, 3 white lights.
Yeah, 4 for 4 so far and looking very amped up.
And our final opening attempt, Christian Eyendoken from Great Britain, 195 kilos, personal best of 210. Has an extremely hefty lead over his competitors.
As hard as it is to believe, but bench press gold and deadlift gold might go to the same person.
Yeah, as well as the squat gold. He might have a full house if he's on point today.
Yeah, I think he's gonna walk away from this competition with a heavy neck, Amelia. 3 white lights for Christian Eyendoken.
The good news is we know he can lift it.
100%.
And that concludes the opening bench press with all 7 lifters there on the board. Montano Camacho currently sat in bronze, Eyendoken in silver, and still holding on to gold for the time being, Grilch from the B group at 202.5. We head into the second round of bench press now, and kicking us off, Sil Maurice from the Netherlands, 177.5. That is a good lift, 3 white lights. And actually, to be corrected, the lifter holding on to bench press gold for the time being is from the C group.
Which makes it even more impressive.
Yeah, absolutely. He may not be walking away with the medal, but, you know, we can't say never at this point.
I mean, applying pressure from the C group is impressive.
Cian Madden from Ireland, 185 for his second attempt. Sitting in a really good spot, neck and neck with Lewis from Great Britain to push for that overall bronze. Maurice just ahead at the moment. Slowed down a little bit towards the top there, but looked like a good enough second.
3 white lights, a good lift. Once again, with him having such a solid squat session, if he can score another attempt in the bench press, going 6 for 6 into deadlifts, is right where he would want to be.
Jonathan Lewis from Great Britain, 187.5, a 10 kilo jump here. 5 kilos below his personal best.
He looks on pace to match it.
Yeah, putting himself in a really strong position for an overall podium. And unfortunately just skipped the rack command there. I think maybe having some pec or bicep issues, but that does spell trouble because those extra 10 kilos would have helped, especially if he's having some pain now.
Yeah, for him it's really 10 less to deadlift, but he's looking like he's holding his pec or his sore in the shoulder area.
Bruno Santos from Portugal, 187.5 kilos. 7.5 kilo jump. Ten kilos off his best here in his second attempt. Big fight there at the top for Santos, and that's where we thought the sticking point might start to come in.
Yeah, he had to fight, his elbows flaring out, kept on pushing, managed the attempt. Wow. We can only expect another 2.5 on that.
190 kilos.
With a personal best of 192.5, Richard van Bezuijen from the Netherlands is looking to jump 7.5 kilos here, just 2.5 kilos below that at 190. This will put him to bench press bronze provisionally heading into the third round. Manages to lock out his elbows, but it certainly was tough. Good lift, moves into provisional bronze. I wouldn't expect to see too much more onto that for his third, Alex.
Yeah, once again, just like in the squat event, he has such a long range of motion that adding 2.5 is already going to be difficult. Regardless, he's having a solid day.
Mario Montano Camacho from Spain, 197.5 to move him into bench press silver ahead of Ian Doken for the time being, with Ian Doken to follow.
Looking super strong under that bar. 3 white lights, a good lift. That was a match BB. It did not move like a match BB.
No, in a really strong position heading into that third round now.
Had Rico been here, he would have been knocking on the door, but now the door is wide open. It's his to lose.
202.5 kilos for Christian Ian Doken from Great Britain. 7.5 kilo jumper moves him into bench press silver for the time being, still behind the C group lifter Grilch from Slovenia. On prognosis, Christian is currently 57.5 kilos ahead of second. But every kilo counts to the total he wants to build today.
I would argue that this is better than his opener. 3 white lights for Christian. Based on his deadlift opener, is only 2.5 kg shy of his nominated total. And his deadlift opener is not that heavy for him. We have a strong Christian in front of us.
Absolutely. And that concludes the second round of bench. Van Bezuijen holding on to bench bronze, Montano Camacho in silver, and Ian Doken now in gold. Of course, that's not including the C group lifter, who's actually still holding on to gold, so a little incorrect there on the board. Grilch still holding on to that gold position. Ian Doken in silver, Montano Camacho in bronze, but subject to change now in this third round with Seal Maurice, 182.5.
Nice and solid third from Seal. 3 white lights. 6 for 6.
And that's the kind of day he's going to want to keep having. Currently projected in second overall. And it's the fight for silver and bronze really today.
And supposedly he has a bigger top end deadlift than Mario, but Mario has been some stellar progress. It's going to be a dogfight.
And another lifter who still has a chance in a podium position, but that last bench certainly hurt him. 187.5. He just skipped the rack command and he looked like he was a little bit injured coming off of it, and I think that is reflected in the fact that he's not seemingly coming out and giving his competitors a minute to rest here.
Once again, you have to take into account that risk-reward ratio. If you're going to tear a pec and prevent yourself from deadlifting afterwards, where deadlift is your strong suit, it does not make sense. So the fair play thing to do is to let that minute roll for the other lifters to get some rest, especially when it's only 7 athletes in the flight, and hopefully he can deadlift to the best of his abilities in just 45 minutes or so.
Absolutely, and it only benefits his teammate Doken, who's just benched and will be at the end of the flight, to give him an extra minute of rest.
The clock has ticked down. It's going to be a no lift, of course, and we'll be moving on to the following lifter.
And that will be Bruno Santos from Portugal, opting for that 2.5 kilo jump we anticipated here. Slow down, it came in quite heavily on that second attempt.
Can he power through 190? He's done it before, but he needs to do it today. He solidifies a third attempt, 3 white lights, maybe not where he would have wanted to end up, but still walking away with all 3 benches on the board.
Ian Madden representing Ireland, 190 kilos for a match personal best on his final attempt. 5 kilo jump from his second, and again putting himself in a very strong position for a podium at the end.
Hey, he's matched his best squat, he's looking to match his best bench. Solid position to be in.
Yeah, it seems like Team Ireland coming through with a really strong double act here in this evening's prime time session.
It out. It's going to be a no lift from Kian Madden. Unfortunately, he loses out on 5 kgs.
With other athletes missing, however, looking at the board, you know, it means that they're all in a very similar position, and the door's still very much open.
I wouldn't rule him out, of course, but he doesn't have the strongest deadlift out of the bunch.
Richard van Bezuijen from the Netherlands, 192.5, looking for a match personal best here. 2.5 kilo jump, so certainly feeling like that second attempt was near top end, if not there already.
Nice in control on the way down. Is he good for it?
Huge fight there, but unfortunately that 190 was just too taxing.
It is bound to happen with those third attempts in the bench press events. But we have 2 more attempts to go, and bench press gold is yet to be determined.
But looking to have a stab at it first, still being held on to by Grilch from the C group. 202.5 kilos for Mario Montano Camacho from Spain. Already has the bronze secured, but looking to take gold on bodyweight ahead of Grilch, who at this point is guaranteed a bench press medal from the C group.
Gotta love the energy he's bringing to the platform. Can he bring the performance? Personal best needed for his shots at bench press gold.
The left arm is going, the right arm isn't, and the feet are slipping, so it looks like bronze for Montano Camacho, and a guaranteed at the very least silver from Grilch from the C group.
Impressive feat. But Mario's still in good spirit. That next one is for a possible clean sweep, Amelia.
So far so good for Christian Ayandokan, and as you said, if he's to get this, that would be squat and bench gold. Silver already secured, 207.5, a 5 kilo jump, and just shy of his personal best, but the 202.5 is pretty comfortable by the looks of it.
That might be a case of just loading what he needs for gold.
There it is, Mr. Consistent.
Super easy. Of course, Christian, one of the crowd's favorite, receiving a lot of support for his final bench attempt. And he easily secures bench press gold.
6-minute break. Now we're back with Deadlift with the 69 kilo.
And that concludes the bench press session. In bronze, Montano Camacho with 197.5 from Spain. From the C group in Slovenia, Grilch in silver with 202.5. And in gold from Great Britain, Ayandokan with 207.5. We're going to head into a short break now before deadlifts and the conclusion of the 69s and 93s. We will catch you there.
The deadlift is the last movement of the powerlifting competition. On that movement, the lifter's whole body is used and put to the test. The athlete approaches the bar once the central referee calls bar loaded. He then has 1 minute to start the lift. In the conventional or sumo position, the athlete has to pull the barbell until his shoulders, hips, and knees are fully locked. Once that position is assumed by the lifter, the central referee will give the down command. The bar has to be lowered to the ground without the lifter being allowed to drop it until it touches the floor, which completes the lift. At the end of deadlift, the powerlifting total is made, which determines the winner and final placings. There are 4 main mistakes to avoid. First, not locking your shoulders, hips, or knees at the end of the movement. Second, not completing the lift with a single upward bar movement. Third, completing the lift hitching at the legs in order to allow you to do so. Fourth, dropping the bar after the central referee down command.
Welcome back to the 2026 European Open Classic Powerlifting Championships here in St. Julian's, Malta. I'm Amelia Potter, joined by Alexander Nordin.
We're here for probably the best part of the flight.
Absolutely, and I think the biggest battle of the week so far that we've seen here in the 69 kilo ladies. A bit of a running order here, and the top 4 lifters as it stands on prognosis, leading out ahead. Jordan Bright from Ireland in second. On bodyweight just ahead we have Van Del with Bouchou behind, and the projected winner on nominations, Chenna, off of the podium currently, so it's going to be a hill for her to climb. As we said coming into this, it was hers to lose, and as it stands the question is, will she make it onto the podium at all?
I mean, it is tied up there between Marta Kenner, Andorina Bouchou, Marie-Josée Van Dal, and now Jordan Bright, who has emerged as more of a main protagonist as we anticipated.
Absolutely. The front runner has changed. Jordan with the lowest opener of the top 4, however, currently in the lead with that subtotal. Kicking us off, we have Signe Elisabeth Belden Pavlovic from Norway, 182.5 kilos being loaded on the bar.
Hasn't had the best day so far, missed a few attempts.
I'm not sure if that was a request by the lifter there, but the bar very close to the back.
Most likely. Usually we don't see that. But just like we do not see a lot of beltless deadlifts.
3 white lights, a good lift. Rosalia Vega Lestegas from Spain opening here with 192.5 kilos. Nice comfortable opener there, and a good lift. 3 white lights.
Jordan Bright from Ireland. Opening at 195.
Quick brush at the bar asked by Team Ireland.
Jordan Bright here, currently the front runner on prognosis, 195, personal best of 207.5 kilos. Looking to secure her total here.
Yeah, she's here, she's on, she's in the lead, and she wants to stay up there.
Won't have the advantage of pulling last, but currently has the advantage of leading. So if she goes 3 for 3 on deadlift, she certainly is a threat and putting the pressure on her competitors who've all missed significant lifts. As we alluded to before, Marta Jenner, who was in nominations a strong leader, now fighting for a podium spot, nominated on prognosis in 4th currently.
And this 200 could be a very telling lift as to what's to expect. Yeah, she seems to have a lot of room. 3 white lights, a good lift. Do not count her out yet.
Absolutely not, and like you said, with an opener like that, she is in a position to make some pretty sizable jumps and potentially catch up to the podium. Naomi Fenton from Ireland, from Italy, 205 kilos.
Very comfortable opener out of Naomi. 3 white lights. At least she secures a total. She's had an up and down day, but if she can finish strong with a solid 3 for 3 deadlift session, she'll be right in the middle of the pack.
Barcelona for Germany.
207.5 kilos from Melanie Wirtz from Germany. Personal best of 225, certainly in the chance for a potential deadlift medal.
The looks of it, I can only agree with that. 3 white lights. And the thing is, she's not playing for a podium, so she'll have the luxury to load whatever she needs for that deadlift medal.
Marie-Jose Van Douw, 215 kilos. Now still well in the fight for not just the podium, but the overall, and she's going to want this to look convincing. Neck and neck with Bashu currently.
Okay. 3 white lights. That is a terrifying sight if I'm anyone from Norway, France, or Ireland.
And our final opening attempt, and Irina Bouchou from France, I believe, upped her opener here, 215 on the bar.
Yeah, all gas, no brakes. Time to push and pull for Dorina Bouchou. 3 white lights, a good lift. That's provisional 3rd position.
And I'm seeing some big numbers go on the bar for those second attempts, shaking up the order. In bronze, currently for deadlift, Wirtz from Germany. In silver, Bouchou on body weight behind Van Douw, who is currently sat in gold heading into the second round. Bright still holding on to the first place for the time being, but Van Douw, Bouchou and Chenna close on her tail. A shake-up is sure to happen in the next couple of attempts. But we'll have to see where they all land as we head now into the second round. Signe Elisabeth Belden Pavlovic from Norway, 192.5. Two to one, a good lift. Just far side referee not super happy with her lockout position.
What could be incriminated here? Knees, hips, Shoulders. Everything's fine to me.
Jury seem happy enough. Jordan Bright from Ireland, currently sat in that gold position overall. Has to just have the perfect deadlift session to put the pressure on her competitors who will be lifting following her. 205 on the bar, just 2.5 kilos below her personal best. This would give her a total 545. She was nominated 539.5. A little sticky towards lockout there, but looking very strong. 3 white lights, a good lift.
The thing is, she seems to have more room, but I think in the past she struggled with grip, am I right?
She has on occasion, yeah, struggled with grip, which I think a couple of the top lifters here in this flight actually have done as well. Rosalia Vega Lesegas from Spain, 207.5.
That's one speedy second attempt from Rosalia. 3 white lights, a good lift. Some clean lifting at the beginning of the second round.
212.5 on the bar.
And it really is so close at that top end. Naomi Fanton, 212.5, a 7.5 kilo jump from her opening attempt.
Seems a lot of lifters are opting to lift at the back of the platform.
Perhaps looking for a spot on the platform, slightly less covered in talc and chalk, maybe a little less slippy.
Might be. Difficult second with 3 white lights. However, I don't have a single clue as to what to expect for a third.
No, quite hard to read at this point.
Because that's proper technique. Everything's perfectly aligned. It just looks slow, but how slow can she get before she fails?
That is the question and the conversation she'll have to be having with her coaches right this second. Martha Jenner from Norway taking a big 20 kilo jump here to her second, and it's certainly justified, and this is where she starts trying to push on those other 3 competitors.
But would you imagine that if everyone scores, a 20 kilo jump is not sufficient for her to be on the podium at the end of the second round?
Yeah, it's quite a place to be, and one I'm not sure we expected Chenna. But if she makes this look convincing, certainly puts the pressure on Van Douw, Bouchou, and certainly Bright as well. How convincing can she make this look?
I would say very convincing.
Yeah, absolutely. It is a good lift, 3 white lights, and like you said, it's still, if Van Douw and Bouchou make their second attempts, lands her 2.5 kilos off of the podium. But the question more so is who has more kilos left in the tank heading into the thirds.
The thing is, like we said, if everyone hits, she'll be 4th at the end of this round. So it could be a question of, or she hits and she's 1st, or she misses and she's 4th. She's going to be pulling for 1st position.
Melanie Wirtz now, 220 kilos, a huge jump here for the German lifter.
The troublemaker for deadlift medals out of Germany scores 3 white lights. Now into the two favorites for deadlift goal as well for the title.
Marie-Jose Van Dau, our penultimate second attempt, 230 kilos, and the lightest of those top four by a good couple of kilos, and that certainly could be her edge today. Marie-Jose Van Dau now coming out for 230, and again she's going to want this to look convincing. For the time being, it will take her into gold overall and puts her in a really strong position to take the European title if it moves well.
Wow, that moves way faster than it did at Girl Power last year. Match PB, but super fast second. Who's favorite? Van Dal, Bright, Kiana, Bushu, you pick your poison. No wrong choices here.
Alerina Bushu, our final second attempt here, 230 kilos to pull her into bronze overall for the time being, heading into that third and final round. Oh, that is so tough. And you can see she is visibly upset by that. What do you make of that, Alex?
I think they went for a big jump trying to solidify her spot on the podium on the second. But a technical mishap here. Not a proper wedge. Not strong enough, but I still think she has a chance at getting it in the third round. But I think she's out of the race for first position overall.
Absolutely. Van Dau still leading the deadlift gold, followed by Chenna and Wirtz. As we head into the third and final round, Van Dau leading on body weight ahead of Bright. Just behind we have Chenna. Bushu falling currently off of that podium. It is going to be a dogfight here. And it is all up for grabs here as we head into the final round of deadlifts for the 69s, and that really shakes things up with the miss from Bushu. And it seems like Belden Pavlovic isn't to come out for her final deadlift, which gives us a bit of a chance to talk about those top four. It seems like Jordan Bright from Ireland has dropped her final attempt to 210, looking to secure a podium spot instead of charging for first. Although if she does pull it, she will pull for the time being into first. As you can see here, currently sat just behind Van Dau, trying to build as big of a total as she can, get Van Dal and Chen to push each other maybe too far to make some misses, and hope that Bushu can't make that third attempt again. It is so very close.
Yeah, dissecting the scoreboard, the only thing you can realize is it is unpredictable and so interesting to follow until the final pull that could be the deciding one.
And from nominated fourth to pulling for back into first, she's been dominating really the whole day, and she doesn't have the advantage of coming out later for deadlifts, but she's going to do what she can to put the pressure on the rest. 210 kilos would be a 2.5 kilo personal best for Jordan.
This is already the best version of Jordan we've seen. A well-rounded performance, PB total, looking to add another 5 to try and secure a position on the podium and maybe even the win.
And unfortunately not there today, which keeps her in bronze overall for the time being and gives that shot for Bouchou to push. However, with Bright being lighter of the two, Bouchou is not just going to have to make the jump that she missed. She's going to have to add another 2.5 kilos onto it if she
Maybe I'm
wants.
seeing things, but she's in silver at the moment, not bronze.
Yes, so you're absolutely right. For the time being, she's in silver. If Chenna's final pull is successful, she'll be in bronze. But you're absolutely right. Silver is there. Bronze potentially on prognosis. Rosalia Vega Lestegas from Spain, 215 kilos.
Sticky lockout, but a proper one for Rosalia. 3 white lights, a good lift. She's in provisional 6th position.
We now have 5 more lifts in this group. Next is Noemi Panton from Italy, 220 kilos for her last lift in this competition. If successful, she will.
Can you believe that we're gonna have 5 deadlifters over the 220s in the 69s at Euros?
Absolutely incredible. We have Noemi Fanta coming out for 220 to try and, for the time being, take deadlift bronze. 7.5 kilo jump to match her personal best.
Second attempt, it looked slow but not difficult. Is 220 here on the day? Nah, this one's glued to the ground. No deadlift medals, but it was worth a shot.
We're seeing now the attempt changes start to come in. And I'm wondering if that's from Team France. They're going up.
I think it's from Team Norway, dropping down from 237.5 to 230.
No, that's already happened. It's from Verts changing to 230 as well. So
it's going to come down to lot number.
Marchenna now looking to pull herself into gold, with only Van Dau really currently pushing for that position as well, unless we see a big change from Bouchou. It is very, very close, separated only by body weight at the moment. Van Dau and Bright. Van Dau still to take her final attempt, but will be pulling last.
So if she hits, that's provisional goal and guaranteed podium for Marchenna in Norway.
Marchenna, 230 kilos, currently sat in deadlift silver. This will pull her from bronze overall into gold overall, with Van Dau to answer.
Not pulling last is always uncomfortable, but with experience, have they found the right number to win?
Huge effort from Chenna, and there's the experience coming in, but it looks like the grip has gone for her. And if you look at this scoreboard, there are between 3 flights of 69 so far. 2 of those lifters have got successful thirds. That's 18 lifters, 3 to go, and only 2 of those with successful thirds.
Not the best stat line we've ever seen in powerlifting.
No, absolutely not, but it does mean that Chenna is currently sat in that bronze position. If Anderina is to make her final pull, she'll be off of the podium. And she gets it going this time, but no, unfortunately, cannot hold on to it, which means she is off of the podium, and it means that we know who the European champ already is in Van Dau.
It did look different, but not different enough. Great push from Bouchou, but she's out of the podium.
And just 2 deadlifts remaining. Like we said, we already know what the overall podium looks like. This is just for bragging rights and the deadlift medals. Melanie Wirtz from Germany, 230 kilos, looking to change her deadlift bronze into a silver. Huge effort. No, it's just not there, but she doesn't lose out on a deadlift medal. She just won't change the color of it. And just one final deadlift remaining, and it will be from your European champion, nominated coming into this in third, 11.5 kilos behind first. Now walking away, regardless whether she gets this or not, because she came in so light at 66.5 kilos. 237.5 on the bar for your new European champion, Marie-José van Douw from the Netherlands for the final lift of the day. Already gold medal in deadlift, already your European champion. This is just for the cherry on top.
Coming in the lightest of the bunch, missing your squat opener and walking away champion. That's no small feat from Marie-José van Douw.
Oh, and she, I think, misses that.
I'm not sure. I think it's a fair attempt. Yes.
Wow. That is incredible. What a day she has had. 2-1, a good lift.
Yeah, she received the down command before tripping, so it's a valid attempt.
And before we head through to the 93s, Wirtz in bronze on deadlift, Chenna in silver, and Van Dahl in gold. But overall, your bronze medalist from Norway came in nominated first. We have Martha Chenna. In silver from Ireland, we have Jordan Bright, and your new European champion from the Netherlands, Marie-José van Douw. We move immediately into the 93 kilos lifters. A huge spread of opening attempts here, all the way up until 330. Kicking us off, we have Bruno Santos from Portugal. 265 kilos.
Three white lights, a good lift for Bruno Santos. He solidifies a total 2 for 3 in the squat, 3 for 3 in the bench press event. Good start to his deadlift session.
Coming out next, representing Ireland, Cian Madden, 287.5 kilos. Just brushing the bar down here, making sure the lifters have every opportunity to get that opening attempt in.
The bar is loaded for Cian from Ireland. Let's go.
Cian forecasted 6, but still with all to play for. He'll rely on someone to miss, and him hitting all 3 attempts. He needs to do his part.
Three white lights, a good lift, and secures his total there. Representing Spain, Mario Montano Camacho with a personal best of 322.5 kilos. opening here with 290.
Nice and easy opener. 3 white lights for the Spanish Raging Bull. Forecasted 5th, but a lot of room on that deadlift.
Yeah, I can imagine see some decent sized jumps here. Richard van Zoogen from the Netherlands, 305 kilos for his opening attempt.
Three white lights, just a comfortable opener. He made it look casual.
Representing the Netherlands, Seal Marius, 312.5 kilos on the bar.
Yeah, he bumped up his opener and now he's forecasted 3rd.
Yeah, it's going to be an absolute battle to get onto that podium behind Christian. Very strong opening attempt there. Plenty left in the tank.
He's in a real solid position. He might have a shot at vice champion.
Two final deadlifts, both from our British athletes. Both very capable of a near world record deadlift. Jonathan Lewis, I believe, at one point has held the record as well. Christian attempted it at Worlds last year, just narrowly missing out. 320 kilos for Jonathan Lewis from Great Britain with a personal best of 360.
And for reference, the European record is 373, belonging to Sasha Standebach. It was established in 2021 in Luxembourg. And the world record is 380, belonging to Ibrahim El Khali, the Algerian.
Bit of a wobble at the top there for Lewis.
Do you think that could be caused by his chest or shoulder being a bit painful after bench?
I'm not sure if that's the case or it was just a bit of a speed wobble. He locked it out so fast, perhaps that just knocked his shoulders forward a little bit.
Regardless, it's a 2-1. It passes.
Yeah, unfortunately, I saw the jury discussing it and it's been overruled to a no lift, unfortunately, for Jonathan Lewis. 330 kilos in the bar for Christian Ayundokan from Great Britain, also with a personal best of 360.
An opener that pretty much solidifies the title. And with ease, with strength, with everything you need, 3 white lights. Christian is just so dominant today.
Yeah, and I'd be surprised if that pull there didn't secure the win for the day. I think just getting a total would have secured his European title. And he is leading already with deadlift gold, followed by Maurice from the Netherlands and Glenn Madsen, currently from Denmark, in bronze as we head through to the second round of deadlifts. You can see the big spread from first, second, but then very close below that in the fight for silver and bronze. And we head into the second round. Bruno Santos from Portugal, 290 on the bar.
Once again, making use of huge jumps.
It took a while to get that down command this time round.
Yeah, Chief Ref uncertain of the shoulders and giving him plenty of time to showcase that he can properly lock out his deadlift. I'd rather see that rather than a very quick down command but receiving a red.
Cian Madden from Ireland jumping to 302.5 kilos, landing him just shy of that podium position. 7.5 kilos off his best deadlift. Moving very, very comfortably still for Madden. And it is a good lift, 3 white lights.
I don't know how much he has left, but right now in 4th position on the outside, looking in at the podium.
Another one of those lifters fighting for those podium spots. Mario Montano Camacho from Spain, 307.5, 17.5 kilo jump.
With a top end deadlift projected to be in the 320s. This one should and probably will be easy. Yeah, count on him for that battle for vice champion or at least the podium. And I know my Spanish, una más means one more. He needs to pull one more.
I thought you were going to translate the screams. I think I got those ones in English as well.
What do you think means?
Richard van Bezrugen from the Netherlands. Again, so many names in the fight. We might just have to wait till that 3rd round to talk about that. 322.5. Every attempt matters more than ever right now.
Much slower than anticipated, but slow all throughout the lift, and he locks it out. 3 white lights.
It is a good lift, and for the time being pulls them into the silver spot, but it does beg the question, how much is left in the tank there?
I mean, he PR'd by 2.5. His total is now forecasted 4th. Being in 2nd position is not where we expected him. Nominated 6th, that's great improvement.
Seal Maurice from the Netherlands, 330 kilos and a very, very strong position to walk away with silver today. The 312.5 was extremely convincing. And this is a match personal best, should he make it.
Match PB deadlift for provisional gold. Provisional silver position. Wow. Still looking strong, Amelia. Still looking strong.
Absolutely, and out of those fighters pushing for silver, he will be pulling last, so in a really good position to put the bar on the bar what he thinks he'll need after the fact.
Jumping 30 kilos up to 350.
Great Britain's Jonathan Lewis missed that opening attempt on what looks like a speed wobble. Just got knocked around at the top a bit. Jury turned it over to a no lift. Has chosen to go up to 350 kilos.
Probably the planned second.
It looks like it. It's a 30 kilo jump, so I'd be surprised if the planned second was any higher than this.
Jonathan is just that guy. 3 white lights. Did I miss? Yes. Okay. Bump up the attempt by 30 kilos.
Yeah, and it's one of those situations that it was partially an issue that there wasn't enough weight on the bar, that he wobbled because he locked out so aggressively, and you can see there's plenty left in the tank there to go into his third.
I mean, that's a flex. What'd you miss? Oh, it was too light.
Our final second attempt, of course, Christian Ayendoken jumping 30 kilos to 360, a match personal best here in just 13 kilos below the European record and 20 below the world record. Wow, and that is so easy.
3 white lights. Are we in a loaded up situation, Amelia?
I mean, he's at literally 0 risk of being caught. It would be a miracle beyond miracles if he lost the title today. And so he can take exactly what he wants in that third attempt with 0 risk.
And that's a personal best at that weight for Christian.
Absolutely, who's leading the deadlifts there and the charge as the new European champion. The fight for silver and bronze, however, still very much up for grabs, as you can see there. Very, very close. We head into the third and final round of these 7 93 kilo lifters. Bruno Santos, 305 on the bar for a new personal best. Sticky towards lockout, but it looks like he held on to it for as long as he could. It just wasn't long enough.
Going for a new personal best at 315 kilos.
Cian Madden from Ireland not looking to push for podium. 315 perhaps feels like the top end for today, but will land him over 800 kilos with 810 and a new personal best on deadlift.
From 10th to 5th in the deadlift event. From 6th to 4th for a PB deadlift of 5. A PB total. Oh, it just tips forward. No lift for Cian Madden. So close.
And we're getting right towards the crux of the competition now. We know the European champion, but like I said, the podium below him is up for grabs. And we have all remaining contenders here. First of which, Mario Montano Camacho from Spain, 317.5 to pull him into silver overall for the time being.
He's pulled more than this before in competition, so surely they believe that this is what secures the podium.
Wow, look at the heart on him, holding on to it for the very
The
full
Spanish
pull.
Raging Bull secures his final pull!
And as a result, we've seen Team Netherlands drop to match the total at a lighter body weight. And it pulls him into silver for the time being, but should all final pulls get made, it will only be good enough for 5th.
Wow. What a final pull that was.
Incredible.
Incredible lifting.
And looking to knock him down to bronze for the time being, we have Richard van Bezuijen. Just a 2.5 kilo jump, and it might be all we have left in him after that second. So for the very last time, has he emptied the tank? Because if he hasn't, this will be enough for the time being for overall silver.
Do they believe this is what he can or what he needs?
Yeah, it's just too heavy, unfortunately. And he was looking to match Montano Camacho on body weight at a lighter body weight, and it looks like Maurice is looking to do a similar thing. Team Netherlands wants to be on that podium. It isn't Van Bezuijen, but can it be Maris? Seal Maris, 332.5, just 2.5 kilos more to try and secure him silver for the time being. At the very least, it should secure him bronze overall. So this is for a podium position, and the pressure is on, and it looks like he's feeling it.
Yeah, but I mean, only adding 2.5 on his second attempt seems very doable. An opportunity has arisen for Team Netherlands. They are seizing it. A guaranteed podium, provisional silver for Marcel. I think he's done it.
And he has 3 white lights, a good lift, and that is a podium spot secured. Currently it's silver, but it could be bronze as we have another attempt change come in. Both lifters remaining are British. We have Ian Thoken and Lewis. Ian Thoken dropping his final attempt at 365, not looking for any of the records today. And we've had another attempt change come in. It's bound to be British. And is Lewis looking to secure a podium position instead of a record? Yes, it looks like it. It looks like he wants silver more than he wants the European record, which I think today is sensible. And that would have been a conversation with him and the coaches. What's more important, the European record?
I think for team points and GB, this one's very important, but a shot at history is something too.
Absolutely, but you know, that's going to be there on another day, but a British 1-2 is a great thing to shoot for. Christian not coming out for his final pull, instead saying thank you to the referees, to the crowd.
So he just bought one for his teammates to buy some time.
Essentially, yeah, he dropped it, gave him the extra minute to rest instead of taking that away from him.
So maybe he felt he was not good enough for the European record on the day and wanted to preserve some gas. He knows he's the champion. He's PR'd at that body weight, not quite his total of the World Games where he weighed in at 98, but to do 887 comfortably at 92 is something.
And as it stands, Montano Camacho is sat in bronze with Maris and silver behind Ian Thoken. However, Lewis is still to pull, and that'll be for that silver position, knocking Montano Camacho off and Maris into bronze. And we have Jonathan Lewis, 367.5, looking to pull into silver position ahead of Maris.
Oh, the crowd's feeling this one. Such high stakes for one final pull, 367.5 for gold in the deadlift event and the title of vice champion, the 1-2 for GB.
Oh, and there it is. It seemed like a good number for today. And it is 2-1, a good lift, moves into silver position, a 1-2 from Team GB.
Imagine where he could have been had he not tore his pec in the bench press.
It could have just been a slight strain, but yeah, it was a great day out regardless, ending up in that silver position. Maris in deadlift bronze with 332.5, and Dokun in silver with 316, and deadlift gold, Jonathan Lewis from Great Britain with 367.5. Your bronze medalist overall with 817.5, Maris from the Netherlands, 820 for Lewis from Great Britain in silver, and your new European champion Christian Iron Dokun, 882.5. What a fantastic day, ladies and gentlemen. Battles on battles. Thank you so much for joining us as we head into the medal ceremony for the 69 and 93 kilo lifters.
Powerlifting at this point in my life means so much and so much more than I ever thought that it could.
It's really cool. We interact really well, and there's a lot of love.
Especially as a woman, you know, you feel very capable and strong. The years before this was, you know, a male-dominant sport. Females have come into the sport and, you know, we're showing that we can be really strong and capable too. So that's a really good feeling.
It's not only something that I love to do as a sport, but it's so many friends, I've seen so many things, and I've had so many opportunities that I never ever dreamed I could have.
It's really cool to come to people from France or Italy or Germany or Japan, and we all have this commonality of wanting to be strong and better powerlifters, and it kind of brings us together.
Everything has to match, especially we, as physios or as coaches, we try to maximize what the athletes can perform in this time frame, and we try to give our best.
So they can do their best.
It's really cool that now I have friends in a community across the world opposed to just like within my city. And like we get along great. I message them all the time on like Instagram or whatever the case may be, just like check in. The silver lining to it all, it teaches you to continue to work. It teaches you that there's still stuff to be done. It pushes you to be better, to do more. Sometimes if you're at the top, you can get complacent. And that's a wrap. Let's go see the competition.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is now time for the medal ceremony. Starting off with the 69s. In powerlifting, we start by awarding individual movements, starting off with the squat event, then the bench press, and finally the deadlift into the final placings. Awards are given out by members of the federation here. Mr. President of the European Powerlifting Federation, Bjorn Asta. Each athlete receiving a participation medals from our officials.
Participation medals for all and also a universal goodie bag. Thank you very much.
We can now move on to the squat medals. Bronze medalist of the squat event with the personal best attempt of 192.5, representing Team Netherlands, Marie-José van Dal. A squat event that started poorly with a missed opener, she regained and collected squat bronze.
Spot silver,
Squat silver goes to France and Andorina Bouchou. 200 kilos. She unfortunately missed out on her follow squat of 205. And with an impressive final squat of 215, personal best of 4 kilos on the platform, Jordan Bright collects squat gold for Team Ireland.
thank you very much, guys. For the bench press medals. Bench press
Moving on to the bench press medals. Bronze medalist again, Marie-José van Dal with 122.5, representing Team Netherlands.
bench press silver to Jordan Bright.
The subtotal specialist Jordan Bright from Ireland collects bench press silver with 125. Another personal best of 4 kilos.
Gold to
And with a massive 130 kilos, representing Norway, Marte Kiena gets bench press gold. But after bench, nothing was decided yet. Deadlifts have been the deciding factor. We'll now be moving into the deadlift medals. Regarding those in bronze, from Germany, Melanie Mertz, the troublemaker, 220. Deadlift silver goes to Norway and Marte Kiena with the same best attempt as Melanie, but lighter on body weight. 220 sufficient enough for deadlift silver. And with a 17.5 kg gap to our opponent, Marie-José van Dal from the Netherlands, with an impressive attempt of 237.5, gets deadlift silver.
Thank you very much. Now for the total podium.
All three events lead to a total that determined the final placings. Third in the class, nominated first before the competition, the Norwegian Marte Kiena with 542.5.
Silver medalist.
The vice champion of the 69 out of Ireland, Jordan Bright with 545. Unexpected, a dark horse in the race for the podium, nominated fourth. She's your vice champion in 2026.
And the European champion in the 69 kilo
and the 2026 European Open Classic Powerlifting Champion of the 69s out of the Netherlands, the impressive Marie-Josée Van Daal. She'll reign over Europe in 2026. And now, as the protocol states, everyone will be standing up for the national anthem of the Netherlands. Great display of sportswomanship out of these three ladies. They've put on a show, and I would include Endorina Bouchou in that battle. These ladies have been awesome, the pinnacle of the 69s in Europe. And following the protocol, they're going to be following our technical controller, which is also an impressive athlete, Sabrina Downs, out the platform. These have been your 69s. Congratulations, ladies. You've put on a show. You've been great. You've been inspiring. Next up, no breaks. We'll be moving on the medal ceremony of the 93s. They're already there. Only 7 of them, with Richmond Biden, one of the favorites, pulling out last minute because of sickness. We wish him a speedy recovery. Once again, each and every athlete of the flight will be given out a participation medal as stated in the protocol. And just like the 69, we'll then award the squat, the bench, the deadlift before moving on to the final placings in the class. The clear favorite of the day stood his ground, but some surprises behind him that determined the hierarchy in this class. Medals have been given out. Moving on now to the squat event with 302.5 representing Team Netherlands. Sil Maris gets squat bronze. Squat silver goes to Kian Madden, matching his personal best of 310 for Team Ireland. And without showing signs of struggle, Christian Ayandokun and GB collect squat gold with 315.
Thank you very much, guys.
Moving on to the bench press event, an eventful one to say the least. Bench press bronze goes to Spain with Mario Montano Camacho, the Raging Bull, with 197.5. And would you believe that it is a member of the C group that gets bench press silver? Matija Grlic from Slovenia, 202.5. What an achievement from a member of the C group. And of course, bench press gold goes to none other than Christian Ayandokun from GB, 207.5, could have been a second attempt. He knows it. Two more awards to be given out. Deadlifts and then the final placings. With 332.5, the Dutch Silmaris gets deadlift bronze. Would have had more, but this is what was needed for his placing in the class. Had much more in the tank, but only pulled 2 deadlifts. Christian Ayndokun will get deadlift silver with 360. And also had more, but 367.5 was needed for his placing in the class. Jonathan Lewis from GP gets deadlift silver.
Thank you so much. And now for the total podium.
Now into what really matters to these guys, the final placings in the class. Bronze overall goes to the Netherlands, Sil Maris with 817.5. At an outside shot at the podium, he took it, he scored. He's your bronze medalist. With 820 for the GB double stacker at the top of the class, Jonathan Lewis is your vice champion. And as some would say, and still for Christian Ayndokun with 882.5, he is your 2026 European Open Classic Powerlifting champion in the 93s. He'll reign over Europe once again. Now everyone in the audience is gonna rise for the national anthem of Great Britain. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been the 69, this has been the 93s, and this has been the display of strength, belief, and determination from all of our athletes in their lifelong fight against medal and their pursuit of greatness. And one final lap around the platform for the 93s behind Sabrina Downs, our technical controller for this flight. These guys have been great, and you've been great at home watching powerlifting.
Wraps up day 5 of this European Championship in classic powerlifting. But this is not
We
it.
hope to have you back watching powerlifting in the near
And we will come
future.
here tomorrow at 11 o'clock. Tomorrow we have